Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm Fred with Bravo 1 X-Ray. Today we're back with the DB9RB 9mm carbine rifle, and we're going to do a quick field strip and cleaning, and I wanted to show you how we're going to do that. So why don't you stick around and check it out, and don't forget to subscribe and like and hit the bell for the notification. But stay tuned, here we go. But we're just going to do a quick takedown field strip of this rifle here. It takes down just like a normal AR would. Lower receiver comes off. Set that aside. Bolt carrier comes out. Charging handles just like any other AR. There you go, field stripped. Usually have a dirty rag around with me laying around, so I'll just get all the excess stuff off, the heavy deposits and the excess grease from when we put the shooter's choice grease on there. Give the bolt face a kind of a wipe down here, just an overall, just a wipe down, and do an good check on it. Looks good. One thing I did notice, that since this is a blowback style firearm, that it really it gets dirty. Lots of carbon buildup on these parts here. You can see I could just kind of rub the bolt there, and it does get a little grody. So I'm going to throw some hops on there, and looks like you can get the firing pin out on this. Let's see what we can do here. That's a spring-loaded fire pin. There you go. I don't know if you can see that or not. There you go. Just a little tiny firing pin that's got a pretty light spring on there, just probably to help prevent with bump fire. But yeah, give that a wipe down here too. Spring does come off, so be careful with that. I had this firearm in mind for a while, and so I did a bunch of YouTube research on it. I don't think anybody's broken one of these down for you guys, so I hope it's worth it for you guys. But anyway, that's the bolt. Like I said, it is pretty heavy. I do not have a scale that will read something this heavy. I just have my grain scale from the reloading, but it will definitely not weigh something this heavy. But it is, I would say, maybe even double the weight of a regular AR bolt. It's pretty heavy. This is a solid chunk of steel back here. You can see it kind of tapers off inside of there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it does taper down, and then basically from like right here to here is solid steel. It's got a roll pin that it's holding it in, but that really adds some weight to it. And with it being, it feels like it's pretty solid from here as well with the bolt face, so it is weighted pretty well. There is a gas key part here. I'll use it for the charging handle, I believe. I don't see why else it would be used, but it is staked there. So there's that. Got another rag over here. We'll set these guys on the rag, and we'll start working on the upper just a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull a bore snake through it a couple of times. I have a 9mm bore snake, and we'll go ahead and use that inside of here. We'll wipe this down on the inside. I mean, yeah, this is These blowbacks, man, they are messy. Look at that. Definitely not if you're, you know, typical AR guy. I mean, you don't normally see this kind of, even with the gas impingement rifles. They don't get this dirty on that right here on the bolt face. But yeah, let's go ahead and run a bore snake through there a couple of times. This is a Hops bore snake. It's good for 380, 9mm, 38, and 357. So, and it should have no problem clearing the rifle length barrel on this. I'm going to put a little bit of hops on there. Break up some of that carbon. So I'll just kind of dip the brush end in here like that. Put that aside. Go ahead and drop our, sorry, make sure I keep this in view for you guys. Drop the bore snake down through there. And then we'll just go ahead and pull it through. And we'll do this a couple of times here. Make sure we get all the gungo funk out of there. Try not to pull the brushes across the exterior. I know they probably won't do a whole lot to them, but just kind of a good practice. Yeah, these last two pulls were actually a lot easier than the first one, so there must have been a lot of carbon buildup inside of there. So we'll pull the cup through a couple more times. We'll let it dry, evaporate, and we'll pull it through a couple more times, maybe with some CLP on there for some rust preventive on the inside of the chamber there in the bore. Alright. Sorry, just trying to look inside the chamber area. We'll have to hit that with a brush too, I think. So I'll set that aside for right now. And we'll look at the inside of our, you can see that there's quite a bit of carbon build up inside the mag well here. I'll give this a good wipe down here. Oh, okay. I didn't realize what that was for. I learned something new here. So this is your last round bolt release, or bolt catch. Very cool. That's very interesting. I like that. And it worked like a champ. No problems. Like I said, we shot 250 to 300 rounds through this the other day, and not one misfire, not one jam, not one hiccup. Everywhere from kind of a slow, steady squeeze to rapid fire, no issues at all. that was just, well, I guess it's not horrible, but that was all from the magazine well there. Exterior all looks pretty good. Alright, grab the good old nylon brush. I think we're just going to go ahead and give this a light scrub with just a little bit of hops there. Just a little bit on the brush there. Just make sure we get all the carbon out of this mag well here. Do this surface a little bit. The ejector there. Kind of give that a little bit of a soak. And then we're going to get the inside of here. Just kind of trying to get the big stuff out of here. Alright, let that soak for just a second, and then while we're waiting for that one, we'll wipe this one back down. Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised the way the cases looked when they came out of this. They were almost looked like it was a suppressed firearm by how kind of dirty they were. No, no damage, no pressure weirdness or anything like that. It was just the way they were kind of dirty. Yeah, it looks way better. Alright, we'll set that aside again. Bring the upper back over and we'll wipe this all down. Yeah, see that? Just trying to get the majority of the funk out of here. You know, you'll never get it spotless clean, but we can do our best to get at least the majority of it out of there, and it looks a lot better just by kind of giving it that one scrub with the brush there. Yeah. And get the exterior wipe down from here. Got a little bit of that hops on the outside here. It's not going to hurt anything, but it leaves little spritzes everywhere. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then we'll give the bolt a good scrub in here. Let's see here. And you can see all the funk that was on that brush just from doing that little bit of scrubbing there. Trying to get the majority of it off. Once again, you don't need a lot of this stuff. You just kind of want the front third of the brushes kind of wet. That should be more than enough. You see, I always put the lid back on because that stuff's, if you spill that stuff all over the place, it is a mess. Alright, so we're just going to give the bolt a scrub here. Give that bolt face a good scrub. Now, I know there's plenty of ways to do this. I'm sure I'll be getting some comments on what I'm doing wrong, but you know, this is what I do. It works for me. It keeps everything clean and operational. That's the biggest thing, is you just want to make sure it's operational. It doesn't have to be gleaming like chrome when you're done with it. You just want to get the junk off, get the old lubrication off, get that carbon buildup off, and you know, get it back in the firearm. She's gonna run. You know, it's you know, it's the guys that don't do any maintenance at all is the ones that the guns don't run. You go to the range and you help somebody out that's got a gun that's firing. Usually the first thing I'll do is or I should say is not firing, I'll pull the bolt out and inspect the bolt, and it's usually a gas ring issue or something along those lines, or it's just filthy coat of the crud, and most of them, oh, I didn't even know it came apart like that. So you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, this works for me. It gets most of the junk out. You just kind of want to get the big stuff out of there. Get that bolt face nice and clean. Get the ejector, you know, out from underneath there, clean. It looks actually pretty decent. So we'll give this firing pin a little bit of a scrub. I'll wipe that down. The spring. We'll get that replaced. Back into the bolt. And you'll have to hold down the firing pin from the inside here like I'm doing. You can see that I'm holding it down so the pin can go back in. The pin pushes right back in. So you can tell that we, got a couple rounds on, and you can see where the wear marks are right along here and down here, along here, along there. So that's pretty much where the bolt rides. That's where you're going to need the lubrication the most. So on a bolt like this, I like to use this Shooter's Choice all-weather high-tech grease. I think it works great for this type of application. I'll just put a couple dots on it, and then I'll smear it around and get everything a nice thin coat on there. That tube is probably, I would say, 7 years old. So it a little bit goes a long way, guys. You don't need to really coat this stuff on there. You just kind of want to get a smearing, and that will definitely give you enough lubrication for at least a day of range time. That looks pretty good. So we'll call that lubricated. Put it over here on the clean towel and on the dirty towel. So let's see if we can get some of this this hops out of here. See if we can just kind of squeeze the excess out of there. And then we're going to pull it back through. We're going to put some CLP on this. Make sure you shake it up really good, the CLP. And I'll put a couple of dabs on the end down here. So the last thing that goes through is the oil. And we'll leave a nice little trail going through there, or a smear. So we'll go ahead and pull this through a couple of times. I really like these bore snakes. People can go either way with them. Some people really like them. Some people hate them. A lot of people hate them, I think. But I think they're great. As long as you kind of keep them clean and keep them out of the dust. You know, I keep the original packaging on these guys, and I just put them back in that original packaging. So when you take them to the range, they don't get all full of dirt and everything else. So what I'll do is I get to the range, I'll usually pull it through once just before we start. Just make sure the barrel's nice and clean, no obstructions, and you know, just give it a good scrape in there and cleaning. So just like that, we will go ahead and put this guy back together. So we didn't wipe down the charging handle, did we? So let's wipe that down a little bit. There you go. Like I said, this is just like an AR charging handle. I'm probably going to change this out for an ambi one, since I am left-handed. And same with the safety on the lower. I'll probably change that out for an ambi as well. But we'll go ahead and just insert the bolt into the upper receiver there. Upper receiver goes. Oh, I'm sorry. Lower receiver goes on the upper receiver. We will do a function check. Safe works. Fire. Hold the trigger. Let go of the trigger. It resets. Fires. Everything's good to go. Looks great. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think this is going to be a fun rifle. I'm really looking forward to playing with this more. Nice thing about it is, you know, 9mm is like what at least $100, $1,000 cheaper than 5.56, and so you can get a lot more plinking done with that. But there it is, the DB9RB, right? Yeah. DB9R, yeah, B. I like it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed watching me get dirty and clean this sucker up. And please subscribe and hit the little notification bell. Let me know if you got any comments. I'd love to hear them. I will put the links to all the stuff from that you see in the video here in the description below, and all the fun stuff. Anyway, this is Fred with Bravo 1 X-Ray. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you had a great weekend, Sunday evening, and let's get the work week done so we can go to the range. 73.